What do you hear? What do you say? What's the word, good people?
What
Back at
it
it again.
do? What the business is? I ain't mean to cut you off, my brother.
Nah, you good, man. You know, I'm still trying to mess around with these intros and all that good stuff, man. How you feeling today, Spike Lou?
I'm feeling good, man. What about you?
I can't complain, man. A little tired, man. We talked
Ripping
about
and
it,
running.
and yeah, good earners, man. That Vegas. See, I don't even know where I'm at, man. That New York / Jersey trip, man. It wore on
Mm,
me. I made the post. It's funny if you follow me on Instagram, krich513. You can follow Spike at I am Spike Lou. I
yep.
feel like saying on those same socials. I feel like I gotta say on those
On
same
those
social
same social
sites.
sites.
But if you follow me, I've made a post. It's funny because it was from Flight with Denzel, and it's at his hearing. And, you know, it said October 11th, October 12th, the 13th, and the 14th. I
I
was
was drunk.
intoxicated. Yeah, nigga. I drank in excess. And those are literally those are the dates I was in New York. I was at New York from October 11th through 14th, and I literally drank in excess all of those
That's
days.
funny.
The older you get, you know the recovery time ain't the same. So I've been trying to take care of my
Sheesh.
body, drink a lot of water, hydrate, the whole nine this week. But feeling good, man.
I'm
New
glad you
York,
made it,
Jersey
my
was a
brother.
great time. Yeah, man, I appreciate it, man. Went to go see my Bengals get that dub, one of the ugliest games you can imagine watching, but it was great because we got that victory. First time at MetLife Stadium out there in Jersey. It's
How was
funny, a lot of
MetLife?
locals, I liked it. It's a big stadium. A lot of locals hate it. And I kind of
Hmm.
understand because I think what that was built 2015, 2014, 2015. So it was not old, but when you look at it, it's like, all right, we got a new
It's it.
stadium, but well, that's it. Like you look at
Yeah.
all these, you know, the Vikings new stadium, you look at SoFi out in LA, look at the Raiders new stadium. When you spending billions of dollars, you expect this high end, high tech dome. Like they don't even have a dome on the roof, which is crazy because it's New York City. Like you would think they want that so they can host some Super Bowls.
Facts. They gave
They
them that
don't.
Super Bowl when they first built it. I remember.
Yeah, that's when the Seahawks whooped the Broncos' ass. They
Mm-hmm.
definitely gave it to them, and it makes sense, man. It's New York. There's an energy in the air. We talked about that a little bit yesterday. If you haven't been to New York, you quickly understand why people from New York act the way they do. There is a
Oh,
certain
facts.
energy, a certain bravado, certain attitude that you have. If you're a go getter, if you're a hustler, it's gonna be heaven. It's gonna be paradise for you because that's how the whole city is lined up. You can literally make anything happen. You know what I mean? If you got it to you. So went to a lot of local spots, had a good time. Shout out to my brothers Phil and Corey who was out there with me. Great time, enjoyed myself, man. But back to reality, back to the grind. Feels good to be here. You know what I mean? How about you, man? What you do this past weekend?
What did I do this weekend? Nothing special, man. I ain't really do anything special. Caught up on some much needed work, some admin stuff. Watched some TV. What new show? What did I watch anything new? Don't think I watched anything new. Did some recording. It was a real slow motion weekend for me. I was planning. I had to save some energy, like you said. You don't bounce back because this weekend I got a 1 day trip, so I was saving some energy for this weekend and next weekend. I got a trip coming up to. I'm headed to Louisville to see my cousin. She's plays on the U.S. national women's soccer team.
Oh, dope.
So yeah, I just found out when the Olympics was on, like her grandfather and my grandmother are sister and brother. So I think that makes her my cousin. But same last name and
Yeah.
everything.
So second cousins probably.
Second cousin, yeah.
Yeah, because
Same
that's your
last name and
great. That would be your
everything.
great uncle. Y'all be your great uncle.
Uncle, yeah. And then she was his granddaughter. So she got a game in Louisville this week. I'm gonna meet Mom Dukes up there. We're gonna go support her. And then she got a game. This is with the pro team that she plays with. Then next week in Nashville, I'm gonna go home. And she got a game with the US national team. So we're gonna go check that out in Nashville's
Oh
new
man.
soccer stadium. So I had to preserve some energy, man. You know, you gotta piece it out at our
Yeah,
ages.
you can't. Yeah,
So it
you
was low
can't
key.
do it.
Mm-mm. So it was chill this weekend and chill last weekend, and this next weekend it's a little moving around. Hopefully I enjoy that, man.
Hold on, let's back up a little bit. So you found out recently that that's your cousin?
Yeah. I
Okay,
didn't
then got you.
through other family members. It was like you know how it goes in
That Vince
motherfucker. Yo,
Carter
you know
T
that's our
Mac.
cousin. You know that's our cousin, right? Like nigga, shut
Yeah.
up. And then, but both both my grandmother and her grandfather have passed, but I was able to meet him a couple of times. He lived out in Vegas. He used to be security for MGM. He was security that night that my man flew in on the with the parachute doing a Riddick Bowe and
Mm.
was it Tyson? It was
Uh,
Riddick Bowe and Evander Holyfield.
okay, then got you.
Yeah, yeah, he was security of that fight. He used to tell me stories about it and how they whooped dude ass with they came in on a parachute. So yeah, it was a real cool dude, man. So I'm excited to get to meet her one of these 2 weekends, get to run with the fam and stuff. So yeah.
That's what's up, man. That's dope. That's dope to hear.
Mhm.
And that is funny because, like you said, every family got somebody they claim as their cousin who's famous. Like, all
Mhm.
right, whatever. And I immediately thought, like I said, that T Mac story when T Mac and Vince Carter found out they was cousins, well into,
They could,
not
yeah.
well into college, but right into their college career, right around that time, and family reunion and the whole nine. So that's always interesting. Man. That's dope though. That's
It
real
is.
cool. You
Yeah.
ever been to Louisville?
Yeah, we used to go all the time, man.
Okay.
When I told a story of the wreck that I had on Another Week in the Books, if
Mm,
you're familiar with the chapters, we
yeah.
were headed to Louisville. Yeah, we were headed to Louisville then. We used to go every first weekend in May for the Derby. Like we wouldn't go to the race, obviously.
Of
We went up there
course.
for the nigga shit. You from Cincinnati? I'm sure
Yeah,
yeah.
come on, man. Like every
Well, we went up there for the nigga shit.
always
Yeah,
Derby weekend. That's a big deal. Big event. Come down.
facts.
Fuck the
They used
city
to
up,
have a little
league.
strip. They used to have a little strip on
Absolutely.
Broadway, I think it was called. And yeah, we used to shoot up there a lot. I like Louisville, a cool little city.
It's a cool little slide. If you don't
Yeah,
have to
cool little
drive too
slide.
far, if you don't have to
Hmm.
drive far, like it's about 90 minutes from Cincinnati.
Yeah,
It's a cool
it's
little
about
day weekend.
yep, because they got the
They
Six
got some
Flags and shit.
restaurants.
Nice little
Hmm.
restaurants. About 2.5 hours, I believe, from Nashville. If I'm not
That's not
mistaken.
terrible. That's
Yeah,
not
that's not
terrible.
bad
You
at
can go
all.
to if you
Yeah.
went to Bourbon, go to Bourbon Trail, the whole nine. Louisville, cool little
Hmm.
city, man. One of those unexpected. You wouldn't expect it, but when you get there, you're like, all right, then this is pretty cool. Louisville Slugger
Yeah.
Museum, Muhammad Ali Museum. That's real dope. I don't know if
Yeah.
you've been to Muhammad Ali Museum.
I ain't been there. I'll have
Oh
to check
yeah,
that out. I may check that
yeah.
out. I'm gonna be there a little bit before the game, but I'm flying right back out the next day. But I may try to do something in the morning time as soon as I get there. Louisville, one of them cities too that'll fool you. You'll think, oh, it's country and white people. Like, nah, nigga, fuck around and find out in Louisville. You will
Yeah,
fuck
man.
around and
Look,
find out in Louisville, my
we
nigga.
just talked about on Good Earners. I was talking about how because of the episode we were doing, ESTG is from Louisville.
Yep.
And
Hmm.
if you listen to his music, he's not one of those rappers that's just talking. Like he gets it in. Louisville will not even book him for a show. Like
Yep.
that's his
Too violent.
hometown.
Yep.
And nope, can't have it there because they know it's gonna be popping off, man. He's
Facts.
too active in the streets. So yeah,
Facts.
Louisville got it. Yeah, they got it. Like you said, it ain't no country. It ain't that rural Kentucky that you're thinking of. Eastern Kentucky.
Mm,
That's where all the you know
facts.
people sleeping with their first cousins and all that shit. They live
People,
out
the
that way.
hills have eyes. The hills have eyes, people.
No, hey, Spike. For anybody listening, if you have not been to Eastern Kentucky, Spike is not lying. It is. It looks exactly like the hills have eyes.
Hmm.
Like, it's scary. It's one of them places where you go. If you first of all don't go, but if you did happen to pass through and go, you immediately think like, how could anybody ever stay and live here?
Facts. It's so gloomy and like, ugh. And you're like, what am I doing here? Let me get out of here ASAP.
Yeah, Kentucky a weird state
Immediate.
anyway because if outside of Northern Kentucky, Louisville and Lexington, if you live in Kentucky, they don't even tell you they from a certain city. They just tell you what county they from.
Mhm. That is
That's how
crazy.
it's
Yeah,
set up.
they do say that.
Yeah,
Damn,
I'm
it
from
is.
I'm
Yeah.
from such and such county, this county, that county. They don't even say cities. Rural
That
ass,
is
crazy ass
interesting.
state, man. Kentucky. It's a weird spot. Weird spot,
Yeah.
man. But that's gonna be fun, man. That's gonna be exciting, man. Shout out to Cuz.
Absolutely, man. Maybe I'll post some video and try to get that content what we holding ourselves to, man. That's
Hey
people's
man,
on
I'm
my
just
head top
saying.
about it.
I'm just saying, man. But yeah, feels good to be back, man. Feels good to be with the bookworms. We're here at book 2, chapter 7. This will be named later. We'll figure out a title. Probably won't be a long episode. A lot of moving and shaking. Um, Spike and myself, due to my traveling, we didn't really talk too much about an agenda, but Spike did send me something, that he wanted to discuss, and I thought it'd be a good forum for a conversation. What I'm curious about is there anything that you've seen in the news recently that sparked your interest or you thought would be a good conversation piece?
That what I sent you, I thought that would be good. What else has been in the zeitgeist, man?
I'm about to say I don't really know what's been going
I ain't really
on
too much, but
the
I
real
do. I'll
because it's
let you look a
election
little bit.
time.
It's election time, so that's all everybody is talking about. I'm election talked out. I'm ready to just get Donald Trump out of our lives and just get this shit over with, man.
Damn, Eminem
Um,
52.
yeah, you're a granddaddy now.
Like I know, right?
Crazy,
Y'all
make you
talked
feel
about
old,
that, but
right?
life come at you
Yeah,
fast. My goodness.
fast as fuck. I got an interesting text
Sheesh.
based around our last episode. It was interesting because my guy Dro, shout out to Dro. He was he just sent me a text out the blue Friday, and he said, "You got to learn to get out of your own way." Randomly. Hold on, let me
That's
see
it.
what
That's
he
all the
said.
text said. Or
He
was there
said, "Get
more
out
to
your
it?
way. Yeah, get out your way and trust yourself." But what made it interesting? He sent that before he even listened to the episode. I thought he was sending it in response to hearing the episode. So I thought,
Mm-hmm.
okay, that makes sense. But then he texted me the next day. He's like, I just listened to the episode. I hadn't even listened when I sent that. So I doubled down on the statement. It's just like I told you, we were randomly talking, since each other stuff like that. But I just really thought that was interesting how the universe works, and people that are supposed to be around you and uplifting you, and and you supposed to be around and uplifting them. Just how you'll get that 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 urge or that sense to be like, let me shoot this over to them because they probably need it. So I wanted to just mention that, how the universe aligns and how it
Man,
works out. So I appreciate him for it. It was crazy that he sent that before listening to the episode, because after he listened, he said, and hold on.
Dro is a line, bro. Like this, Dro, you know
Yo,
better
what?
than I do, and I never met Dro or really talked to him.
Yeah,
But Dro is always aligned with what's going on. It
he
kind
is,
of
man.
got that. It's interesting how people have that gift, and I call it a gift because I really think that's what it is.
Yeah.
That's why a lot of times when we talk about a lot of films and television,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes films and TV they do certain things, and people will watch and be like, "Oh, that's too much of a coincidence. That's too coincidental." I'm like, man, nah, that's life for real. Because
Yeah.
everybody's had those experiences when you turn the corner, you see someone. Man, I was just talking about you, man. I literally was
Mm-hmm.
just telling such and such, or I just had a dream about you and all that. Like
Yep.
it's life is full of coincidences. Like it
Facts.
happens. We've all experienced that. We've all had moments where like, how in the hell did you? So I don't really trip too much off of that. But it's funny because you always mention Dro in that manner.
Yeah.
It's right
Yeah.
on
No,
time.
man. Yeah,
It's
I
right on
appreciate my
time, man.
brother, man.
You got people keep people like that close, stay in contact
Facts.
because it's happening for a reason. It's happening
Facts.
for a
He
reason.
said after he sent that, he on Sunday when he was listening, he said, just for reference, I sent that message before I even listened to this week's chapter. After listening, I doubled down on that statement. So I just thought that was dope, man. I wanted to mention that. But yeah, I've definitely been thinking about that content like we were talking about last week, and plan on coming with some updates, people seeing some results from that conversation. I think that was a real good conversation from last week.
Absolutely, man. It was one of my favorite conversations, and I enjoy being able to talk to someone, and we can both look at each other and admit, you know what, we're falling short of something. We're better than this. Let's figure out a way to make it better. So I've already
Mm-hmm.
committed and made days on my calendar. I got a planner. I've talked about it where I've actually put down like admin days. Um, shout out to my boy Dejan. I didn't talk to him directly, but I saw him post something. He's a comedian
Mm-hmm.
out of New York City, and he was talking about he posted something about admin day and pretty much just showing people like it ain't just writing jokes and delivering them. Like there's a lot of other stuff that goes into this work. He has a merch line and the whole nine, and just I'm like, that'd be a good day instead of trying to do a little bit each day. Like dedicate some time, block out 4 or 5 hours, and really lock
Yeah.
in. Do what you need to do to get in your zone and lock in, man, and get some stuff done. And build that routine, just like we talked about at the beginning of this book. So I have the same thing in line. I'm looking forward to getting this stuff out. Spike and myself have talked about some live shows, virtually, of course, to kind of build an audience and make sure people know exactly what it is that you're presenting, because so much content's out there now, man. Even though you can send the link and all that, but not everybody's gonna watch it, or they need a little trailer. It's like a movie, man. You ain't gonna go see a movie without seeing the trailer.
Facts.
So let's give them the actual content and then take it from there. So I'm looking forward to a lot of the things we have in the pipeline. I know last week I mentioned a certain episode. We plan on doing it this week, but there's some scheduling conflicts. So I talked to one of the people who is going to be a guest. It looks like it's going to be November 14th, so a few weeks down. And we do have a guest coming next week that I'm really looking forward to, that y'all are familiar with. We talked about it last night when we recorded. So we're gonna have a guest talking about some of the life experiences. I'm not gonna tease it and make y'all guess. It's gonna be Mo. It's gonna be the return of Mo for chapter 8. Obviously, Mo and his family were down in Florida for this past hurricane. Glad everybody's okay, but obviously that's a big life experiences. And we were talking briefly about how you can change perspectives based off the things that happen to you. The things that you take for granted now are invaluable after you go through something like that. I think it'll be a good conversation. And just to catch up with Mo, man, I love to hear his feedback on how he feels about being a bookworm and a listener and a reader versus a main author, and how things have been going. We obviously know why he wanted to step down and how personal it was for him, and just how if he's had any success like disconnecting from that. So I'm really looking forward to Mo being on here next week. And then I know Spike has mentioned some conversations that we're gonna have, so it's gonna be a good time. We got some stuff in the pipeline for y'all. Shout out to Mo for the intro. A lot of people hit me up about the new intro for Another Week in the Books. It's Mo is sending some options, and I thought that was the best one. Phil hit me up like, "Hey man, send me that instrumental, man. I'm about to drop a.
He's gonna rap on it.
I'm about to drop a verse, man." I'm like, "Nah, we don't want to do that.
Phil
We don't
used to
want
rap.
to do that. Hell no."
Phil used to rap.
I mean, like he rapped like everybody else in high school
Everybody
used
used
to
to
rap.
rap.
Yeah, everybody used to rap, but not in no real shit. But you know how it is. That's just how the beat
funny,
goes. It
man.
was that
It's super interesting that everybody got that experience with like rapping and
yeah, for
booking
sure,
studio
man.
time and shit like that.
Who was I talking to about that? Maybe it was Ray P. I was talking about how just no matter that Black American experience, I know the Black diaspora is large and it extends across America, but the Black American experience and how unique it is and how you can be so similar. It don't matter where you're from. You can be on the West Coast, right? And you can be in the South. You can be in the Midwest, East Coast. You all have similar characteristics. It always makes me wonder how it gets like that. Like the Black people keeping the kitchen, the grocery
The kitchen
bags,
light on over the thing, the grocery
yeah,
bag.
grocery
I'm gonna tell you
bags, all types of stuff.
the one that fascinates me is the Saturday morning listening to music cleaning up.
Cleaning the house. Yeah,
Every Black person seems like had that experience. I used to
absolutely.
hate Anita Baker jam. I'm trying to sleep in, when
You
you're
hear it,
like,
and you know what it
nah,
is.
nigga. Yeah, when that music come on, you better have your ass up. Your bed need to start getting made. I might need you to come out here and wipe something down. But every Black
Exactly what it
person that
was.
seems damn near had that experience, man. That's crazy.
That's exactly what it was, man. And like you said, you young, you just trying to sleep in. Ain't none of that. Because we Spike and myself, I'm sure you all know, we'll review The Sopranos. Shout out to Good Earner. We talk about a character like AJ. AJ ain't got it. AJ can sleep in, close the door, none of that. Carmela ain't bothering him.
Yeah.
Our mamas, nah, bruh.
Shit, nigga.
That music up. I'm working, you working.
Cut that game off. Bring your ass out here, nigga. Go cut the grass.
Mm-hmm.
All of that shit, nigga. That's
The
exactly
whole
how I say.
nine.
I used to try to get out of there on Saturday. That's one of the reasons I started playing football. I was like, nah, we out of here. Saturday mornings, I got football games. We out. I ain't doing this. I ain't doing the Anita Baker blasting and like, no, God, no. I did see something in the news that I thought was interesting. I'll ask you about. It ain't too chatty patty, but it's kind of. We don't usually talk about this, but hey, what the hell? The lady that used to date. What are you thinking?
Kayla Nicole, I knew you was gonna do that, bro. We gotta chill. We gotta chill because on everything, that was the only thing I was gonna bring up to you, and I was just about to say it, and I literally had the same thought you did. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know if we really gonna talk about this here, but I was curious to know your thoughts. So go ahead and lay it out. It's funny you say that. I swear on air, Spike. I promise I'm not making this up.
I believe it happened all the time. Yeah, people probably believe we be bullshitting when we do that, but it happened all the time. It's crazy. Kayla Nicole, that's her name.
Yep, Kayla Nicole.
So she went on Angel Reese
Cold. It should be
podcast.
Kayla Nicole.
Cold, COLD. Exactly. She is fine, a fine,
Like,
beautiful black lady.
sheesh.
Woo. Body, man, listen, I ain't even gonna get into that, but she used to date Travis Kelce, and she was on Angel Reese's podcast. And a couple things that came up that kind of made her go viral. One was she used to date Iman Shumpert. She didn't say his name on here, but she used to date him, and he broke it off with her to start dating his future wife, now ex-wife, Tiana Taylor. And she said what she did was dressed up as Tiana Taylor for Halloween the next year, which I thought was insane. It's one of those things which you say, Rich, like Batman when they got that out of me. Like I would have took that to me. Her and him would have knew about that, and that would have been it. And everybody else would have left to speculation. But I thought it was interesting, one, that she said that. But the thing that we can talk about, and I know it's a conversation that happens all the time, the 50-50 conversation. Angel Reese asked her, because there's a rumor going around that her and Travis Kelce parted ways because he wanted her to go 50-50. Angel Reese asked her about that, and she simply responded. She was like, well, do I look like somebody that's going to go 50-50? Which was a good response. I get where she's coming from. If I look like that, I wouldn't expect to be going 50-50 with no nigga either. But it caught a lot of traction. She then recanted some of the statements on I Am Athlete. I don't know if you've seen that. She sit down with them later in the week and said she wished she hadn't said some of those things. She's still learning and getting media trained. But the conversation around the 50-50 and how she responded to that. Travis Kelce's situation now, one part of it I thought of. Taylor Swift ain't asking him to pay for shit. Like, he's probably getting a lot of shit free or has access to a lot of shit because of her. But visually, it's not an upgrade as far as she don't look as good as Kayla. So that's one thing that I was thinking of. It's not even
obviously that's up for your personal taste, but it's not even close.
Would you trade that convenience for what, the fineness of Kayla Nicole?
Yeah, there's no way it's Kayla Nicole all day.
Okay.
But all right, so here's the
thing. Is that because you're Travis Kelce and you're well off anyway? Like, let's say.
Oh, hold on. Are you saying if I'm Travis Kelce or if I'm me?
If you.
If I'm me, and pretty much I
and
have
you
the
can take,
option of,
and it ain't got to be. It doesn't even have to be Taylor Swift or Kayla Nicole. It can be this scenario where there's one situation where there's one chick, she all right, but she got a lot more perks than the other one. And then you got the other chick who dropped dead gorgeous and bad, but she expects you, like, everything on you, my nigga. Like, I'm here to look good.
All right. So that changes things. So yeah, if you Travis Kelce, if somebody like that, I won't say him exactly. Somebody like that's established. Celebrity really doesn't have anything to do with it, but in a sense it does. You're just well off, really not wanting for anything. When you get to that level of fame or that level of success, the only thing people like that really want is like access to certain country clubs and private clubs and all that stuff. That's really much it. So in that situation, I have no problem taking care of Kayla Nicole. What you need? Your sister need anything? Your mama need anything? What's up? I got the whole family taken care of. We good. However, I will say this. If you haven't dated someone who has access to things and is well off and is a hustler and can really make things shake, it is a different experience.
Yeah.
It is a different experience, right? I've dated a woman who took care of business. Right. And when you do that, it does make you look at things differently. It reminds me of the episode of Martin, Simon in the Skybox. Where Martin was like, shit, Pam, you better stay with him because we living good. Like, he talking about flying us to Hawaii. We got the Skybox Pistons, tickets to the Pistons, the whole nine. You can't get caught up in that. But if you're close to it and you start living that life, it's no different than when Carucci had came out and said, I'll never date a regular guy. Like, that's never going to happen. You know what I mean? Once you experience certain things, the famous Kanye line on No More Parties in LA with Kendrick, when he said, Amber told my boy, no matter what, I ain't going back to Philly. Like, once you're into that kind of life, A lot
Once
of
you
people
made it
do
there, yeah.
anything they can to stay there. That's
Mm,
what I think. That's what a lot of the mishap and downfall of people in Hollywood come from. It's that urge to, and even you see it on. Let's take Hollywood out of it. You see it on a local level. If anybody who's went viral, somebody go viral for a tweet, go viral, they do everything in their power to try to recreate that
stay
moment.
there. Yep.
That
Hmm.
fame, it's a drug. Like they really,
Yeah.
it's addictive. It's a rush. You know what I mean? So being able to ball out, do whatever, and I'm talking about light ball out. I'm not even talking about somebody with access to a jet and say, "Girl, let's go to Miami tonight."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Let's go to Cuba. Fuck Miami. Nigga, let's go to you want some croissants? Let's go to France. Let's get them
Yeah.
straight from the source. Like all types of that's a whole different type of flex, and it's hard to give that up.
So that's a good question. So that's a good
No,
point you bring up. As a regular dude, like as not anyone, I know you got motion, but I'm saying like, would you date up like, or would that be intimidating to you? Like
nah,
if
it
you
wouldn't be
dating a
intimidating to
girl,
me at all.
okay.
There's got to be some, just like every relationship, right? Just like every relationship, there's
Hmm.
got to be some clear understanding of what's going on. I'm a big
Right.
believer that do whatever works for you and your person, but there has to be clear communication and clear understanding of what that is, right? There might be certain things like I'm somebody I don't feel comfortable just living off someone, just
Hmm.
mooching off. You can have more than me, but there are going to be things like, yo, I got this. Like I'm not. You can't just keep reaching for your wallet, paying for everything, or your purse or whatever. You can't keep paying for everything because I'm gonna be like, nah. I gotta get something. It
Yeah.
don't matter if it's I don't. It don't matter if it's with my
Mhm.
girl. It don't matter if it's with my friends, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? My boy, I don't care. I don't if I know you got bread, it don't matter. Like I'm still gonna
I'm
chip
still
in
a
and pull
man.
my own weight. Yeah, I'm
I'm
still gonna
still a
pull my own
man.
weight.
Yeah.
Especially when it
Yeah.
comes to your boys. Like that's now that's nasty. I'd
Yeah,
much
that
rather
is
get
nice.
taken. That's shit. Think about this in real time.
Okay.
Would I rather get taken care of by a woman I'm dating, or would I rather get taken care of the homie and the crew that got all the bread?
Mm,
The answer is probably no on both occasions, but if I had to choose
I was
one, I
gonna
probably
say.
have the girl I'm dating do a little bit more because I feel like I can do certain things. It's something emasculating, excuse me, about another man taking care of me. Like every time the check come, I got it. I got nah, bro, I got this one. Shit, like you ain't about to keep
Yeah, I
doing this
could.
shit, man.
Yeah, it's all right to splurge on your friends. Like I agree with you. That like, especially if you got it. Like that's
Yeah,
cool. But it can't be like you said all the time. It's on me and niggas is cool with that because now
right.
niggas is damn near like you work for them. Like now niggas can not saying that they would, but now niggas can like send you to the store. Well,
I,
hey, man, go get the dough. Like hey, shit like
yeah,
that. Like nah,
man, me and my
nah.
me and my brother Goody talk about that all the time. Just on that, he always says like if it's on that, like bro, you doing something. Like you driving me somewhere, you a store runner, you something like you.
Yep.
For lack of better terms, you a little nigga right now,
Facts.
and you do little nigga
Facts.
duties. It kind of reminds us. It reminds me of our best episode ever conversation with Entourage, and you asked the question
The
like,
turtle.
knowing everything you know, would you be Turtle? And
And
I
and,
would probably
and
treat
here's the
it like
thing.
Turtle.
Yeah,
Like,
you
bro, I don't
can't.
want your help.
And when you in that situation, you can't just be like, nah, because you know everything that person has done for you.
Mm-hmm.
But on the other end, what you're saying with your girl, that's also one of those things like we know how women are. And as
Mm-hmm.
much as they may not lean or harp on it, when they get mad, and when that woman's fed up or a woman's scorned, or y'all having a little slight disagreement, it's gonna
Yeah,
come up. Well, I paid for this, that, and the third. Like that's gonna happen.
it
So you
is
got
without
to.
question.
Which one of the double edged? What would you want to do? I would definitely say my woman as well, especially if we both have good intentions. Like I'm really fucking with her because I fuck with her, and she fuck with me because she fuck with me, and she may happen to come up or just come from money or something like that. Then it wouldn't be as bad because we really fuck with each other. But I couldn't ever see myself in a situation where I'm doing that with a homeboys, and it's just like I'm expecting a
Yeah,
handout. I couldn't do that.
grown ass man taking care of me.
I'm
That's
too
crazy.
Yeah, I'm too much of an individual. Like I might like want to disappear for 3 days. Like, I ain't, you know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Some shit like, hey, you can't do that. If you around a nigga and he paying for everything, where you at, bro? Like, nah, don't call, ask me where I'm at, my nigga. Like, I ain't
Yeah,
around.
that's
That's it.
crazy.
That's
That's
yeah,
insane.
I'm just not around.
Yeah, I do want to
But yeah,
emphasize something Spike just said, man. I don't want anybody taking it wrong. Ain't nothing wrong with looking out for the crew, having a good time. We about to go out. Hey, drinks on me tonight, dinner on
yeah,
me tonight, man. Let's come out, let's kick it, let's break bread, let's fellowship. I'm talking about the people every single day. The same type of people
yeah,
that are running to the
expecting something.
club, and the same type of people that go into somebody else's VIP and just to drink with them.
Yeah, that's disgusting.
The
Because
whole
yeah,
night.
like you
It's funny
say,
because Dion.
when,
Go
when
ahead,
you
go ahead.
outside and you get into it, like I remember back in our days when we was outside, it would be, some niggas was up here, some was in the middle, some was at the bottom, and it was like the niggas at the top, like, yeah, I'm paying for everybody to get in, or what y'all drinking, or let's get
That's how
3
it
or
should
4
be.
bottles. Yeah, that's how it is. Like if you got it and you with people that you fuck with, you want to show love, but it's not in the sense of I'm taking care of this nigga. Like we used to go to the mall, like everybody grab something. Like, it's on me this time. You know what I'm saying? Like niggas would do shit like that. It just was a reflection of how we was living and what niggas was doing. But you can't expect that every time.
Nah, and it's funny, shout out my boy Good again, because he would always, I remember we were young, my early 20s, we went somewhere, we went out some club, and you know it's a long time ago when they have cover charges. You can catch me going to anywhere where they got a cover charge now. I'll go to a ticketed event, like if I got tickets or whatever, but actually at the door pull up and they talking about 40. That shit happened to me at opening day, man. I pulled up to this little party, nigga said 40. I turn around like, what? There's
I don't
nothing
even
in
have
Cincinnati.
cash,
There's
nigga.
nothing in Cincinnati that I'm paying $40 to get into. I love my city, but hell nah. But I'll never forget, it was like a cover
They'll do you
charge.
dirty out here on that. You'll get somewhere,
Yeah.
100.
Oh,
And you
Atlanta?
gotta pay
Yeah, I'm
100
not
to
it.
park. Like, nigga,
I
what are
wasn't
y'all
there.
talking about? Y'all
I
fucking
wasn't there.
serious, right?
I wasn't there, man. But I never forget, we went out. I forget what this exact scenario. Either I don't think I had cash on me, but I had my card and he had cash. So I'm like, go ahead, go ahead and cover for me. I'll get a drink for you when we come in and such and such. Or I'm like, let me go. I didn't even say I'll get a drink. I think I said, like, I'll go to the ATM when we get in here. I'll get you back. And the nigga looked at me like, bro, you good, man? Like we gonna be boys forever. Like we've been boys since elementary school. We grown in and we super grown now. Like we gonna be boys together, bro. Like it's gonna pay itself back always.
Yeah, it
There's
doesn't
gonna
matter.
be a
I'm not gonna
time where
worry
I
about
ain't got it. Like it's always gonna, like, one hand washes the other, and that's just how it is. And I looked at him like, you know what, damn, you're right. So like when you have a tight crew, an actual somebody, real friends, people you consider your brothers, your family, niggas that know your moms, like stuff like that, that's a whole different ball game, because that is like family. That's kind of how you grow up. It's more so I'm not a fan of the people who meet someone and the next day, that's bro. Like, nigga, you don't even know him. That nigga don't even know your name. He know your
big
nickname,
bro.
bro. Like, yeah, big bro. Like, come on, man, stop it.
Nigga, what?
But
Talking about.
that's an interesting talk. I thought so. A couple things, if we circle back to this whole Kayla Nicole thing, what I found the most interesting about it is, well, before I even talk about that, just a little bit more context. She broke news to Tiana Taylor. So Tiana Taylor, allegedly, according to Tiana Taylor, she didn't even know about them even being in a relationship. One thing I'll say is I really would have loved to see Kayla go on the pivot versus I Am Athlete.
Why's that?
I just enjoy Ryan Clark's method and style and interview style and kind of just overall conversation. I Am Athlete, in all fairness, I did not listen to it, but it's been through so many iterations and so many ups and downs. It just seems like it's not the most stable place. And I think for a conversation like that, especially with a Black woman, because I'm all about protecting Black women and making sure that they have a safe place to go to. We'll come back to that safe place conversation later on. But I just feel like that's a more welcoming and understanding, and it can give some pushback too. And you can leave there with some clarity versus I Am Athlete might just be, it's not for the quality of the conversation. It's for what kind of content can we clip up. That's just my opinion. Like I said, I didn't listen to the interview, so that might be unfair. But one of the things that I found interesting was the internet's response to her telling her story. Now, that's nasty that you dressing up like the woman that took your dude for Halloween.
That's crazy.
That's insane. However, I saw a lot of people saying, like, we got to stop making people apologize for stuff they don't need to apologize for. Because Kayla Nicole walked some comments back and said she would have done things differently. One of the main things was the way she described Tiana, because like you said, Spike, she didn't use names, but she did say she
used to
dated,
be
like he
famous.
dated. Yeah, I was dating this guy that he ended up dating someone that used to be famous. Like
Still
I'm talking
hate.
about Tiana Taylor. That's
Like
legit.
that's a woman thing. Like women do shit like that. Like, and if you don't know, then you won't know. But when you do know, you're like, I see what you did there. I see exactly what you did there.
I
And
never.
used to be famous is crazy.
I'm gonna tell a quick story. Hopefully, it's quick. It all ties down to you know what you're doing. You know what words you're using. You know exactly what you're doing. I never forget Christmas Eve 2005, 2006, somewhere around there, right? I was living in Toledo at the moment. I come back home for Christmas break. I'm working at Foot Locker at this time, right? Long story short, there was this dude that worked at another store down the hall from the mall. Me and him was cool, never had any issues. Well, I found out that when I left, he was talking mad shit. And what was crazy about it was before, like maybe a month prior when I was home for Thanksgiving, I saw him. I was with my boy, and I saw him, and he was, "Yo,
How'd you
what's
find out
up?"
he was talking shit?
So I'm about to tell you.
Okay.
Thanksgiving time, we at the mall, go down there, see him. He sees me. My nigga, what's up? What's good? I ain't seen you in a minute. How you doing, man? Life good, man. That boy, we miss you down here, boy. Da 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 da. I bet. Literally go 5 minutes around the corner on the mall, man. Holler at my homegirl at the store I work, man. What's going on? Da 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 da. Nothing, man. Just came from around the way. Just ran into such and such. She looked like she ran into Hunts. He was talking to you. I said, yeah. Why you looking at me like that? She was, oh man, like he been talking mad shit about you since you've been gone. Like that's what she just told us, just like that. And I looked at my boy. I'm like, hey, wasn't we just? He was like, yeah, man. He was like on, he ain't show none of that energy. So I just took it as a mental check. Like, I bet, because I'm one of them people. I don't have to talk about you if I don't rock with you or something like that. I'll just let it go. Like, all right, whatever. It ain't got to be no big deal. But I do take a mental note. Fast forward that month, I'm back for Christmas. Me and School worked in the same store.
Mm-hmm.
We both worked at the same Foot Locker. School had somebody who was trying to use his discount at the other store.
I remember them Foot Locker.
It's all one company. So Foot Locker got a lunch. They got different like subdivisions, Champs,
Journeys.
Ladies Foot Locker, all that stuff. That's all under the same umbrella, right? So somebody was trying to use his discount. Oh boy, called our store to get School. I answered the phone. Mind you, this is my first time really speaking to him. He was like, "Oh yeah, what's up, man? Isaiah there?" I'm like, "Yeah." And I had the phone out like this on purpose, and I'm like, "Hey, School, dude down the hall want to talk to you."
Yeah.
Don't acknowledge him by name, none of that. Like, and I knew what I was doing. Dude down the hall, and that triggered him.
Yeah.
Like, damn, dude down the hall, and he pretty much said some slick shit on some. If I'm dude down the hall, School went down there to do his business, but he told Isaiah like, if I'm dude down the hall, tell Kyron I got a tampon for him since he want to act like a bitch.
Damn.
Yeah, bro, on some of that. I'm hot. So I'm like, all right, this is about 2:00. On Christmas Eve, the mall's closed early. It's closed at 6.
Yeah.
That happened about 2:00. I called down. When School came back and told me, I called down to the store. I said, hey, man, we all leave at the same time. Make sure you hand deliver that Christmas gift to me. I'm going to see you. Ended it like that. By the time it was time to leave, I'm over that shit, right? It's Christmas Eve. I'm ready to get up out of here. We go to the deposit room in the mall is all at the same place. So we go to the deposit room. And of course, just like a movie, as we walking out of the deposit room, they walking in. And I see him. And we make eye contact, and I give him that look to see what the energy's like. He's trying to avoid the eye contact. I'm like, all right, then it ain't nothing. So I ended up leaving or going to leave. And then that little voice, that 19-year-old ego, you got to stand on that. You got to stand on that, bro. I turn right back around. He came. I'm like, bro, yeah, what's up, man? What's all this shit I was talking? Because it's not only this, it's some shit you were saying, blah, blah, blah. And he said, nah, man, I went and I don't know what you're talking about. And somebody got in the middle. Me and I won't say his name, but we still cool. He got in the middle, like, hey, come on, y'all. It's Christmas Eve, chill. And as soon as dude got in the middle of us, he started popping off again. And that's what really sent me.
Did you ever find out what his issue was?
Hating.
Just one of those niggas.
Yeah, I ain't gonna. Statute of limitations probably up, but yeah, some furniture got moved around the mall, and all types of shit, man. School was there, man. School still talk about that story, but I just wasn't having it. I would never do that shit at this age. But I say all that to say I knew what I was doing when I said dude down the hall, the same way
Buddy
she
down the
knew what
hall.
she was
Yeah.
doing when she said somebody who used to be famous. It was on some hating shit. But I just thought the whole people apologizing for stuff they don't need to, or obviously I've never lived in the public eye like that, so I couldn't imagine what the public pressure feels when you say something, or maybe did I do the wrong thing, questioning your decision. Man, fuck that. We talk about it all the time. Stand on that shit. Stand on it. I said it. And ain't no beef, ain't no issue. That's how I felt. She's telling her story. I think people need to
Yeah.
have, they need to get comfortable with people being able to tell their stories from their perspective. Right?
I think the only reason she should like, yeah, I agree with 100% what you said, but the only reason you bring that back is because you look insane. Like
Yeah.
I have a very, very low tolerance for crazy. Like I don't do crazy. Like, and that right there for me, I probably would have never talked to her again if I was Iman Shumpert. It wouldn't have been no, oh, you crazy for doing like that. That's insane to me. Like dressing up as the chick that I'm dating now, like nah, that's crazy to me.
That's wild.
Yeah, I
I
couldn't.
don't even know what else to say. That's wild.
And the fact that she felt like I could get up here and tell that. But go ahead.
No. That's it.
I was gonna say moving on to the other part of which is the 50-50 thing. So this conversation is always out there. 50-50 splitting bills, whatever it may be. And I look at it like this. I want to know what you think. I think for a man, there are a couple ways to look at it. As a man, if you are well off, I don't have any worries. I'm not living check to check. I got it. I'm gonna have it. I done had it. I'm gonna keep getting it. Like, there's no problem with it. I don't think that you have an issue taking care of the woman that you love. If you love her, if it's that type of, if you're on that type of time where it's like, cool, baby, you ain't got to do shit. Like, I'm gonna make sure everything taken care of because that's what we do as men, especially like when I said when you're in love with someone. On the flip side of that, I also feel like if a woman loves you and you don't got it, like you good, but you ain't rich, she's not gonna let you struggle to pay for everything. Now that she really fucks with you. Like I've never met a woman that was like, nah, I don't work and we live in check to check, but I don't do shit. I let him take care of everything. That would be insane to me if that was the type of situation that a woman would let herself be in or a man will allow himself to be in it. So I always find it crazy when people talk 50-50. People do what works for them in relationships. And most of the time what works is you making a nice amount, you making a cool amount of money, I'm making a cool amount of money. I'll take care of the bulk of this, you take care of that. And then, we do trips and vacations and, whatever it may be. But I always find it fascinating from motherfuckers who be like, well, like she said, do I look like I go 50-50 with people? And she got the room to say that because she don't look like she got to go. Like, she can bag probably some of the richest niggas so she wouldn't have to go 50-50. But I wonder if it was a nigga that she
Her
really
DM's
fucked with,
probably
would she
crazy.
feel that way? Oh, man. Come on, bro.
Her DM's probably crazy. That's a great point. I think you hit it on the head, right? It really depends on your relationship and who you are. You made a great observation of I've never met a woman who really rocked with me, who was gonna let me do something. Now, here's a flip side about it, right? You have to be willing to be open and honest about your situation. And that's where a lot of us as men have issues. You know what I mean? We have trouble admitting, hey, baby, I ain't really got it like that right now, or I'm taking care of this right now. We're going to have to cancel date night for a couple of weeks so I can stack a little bit bread up, or I just had this happen, unexpected expense, had to take care of that. It's not, a lot of people go into debt because they're trying to keep up the appearances versus just sitting down for a little while. Like, let me sit down for a second. Let me get back on my bag, and then we good. So it's hard to tell a woman unless you really rock with her and y'all got that type of relationship. If it's something new, it's hard to tell a woman like I ain't got it like that. Now social media and brokey, you broke, and that's where I think a lot of us struggle. I think that's where that pride comes in and that ego. And now you laid on bills because you're trying to make sure that you can still take your girl out or whatever the case is, versus just being real, like, hey, baby, it's gonna be a movie night, because you can be creative and still have a good time. And if you locked in like that, like, women don't mind. One thing about women, they just want to be around. They just want to be around you.
Yep.
Yeah, if they fuck with you, they just want to be around you. I want to be in your presence. I want to have your energy. It don't matter what we do. Like, yeah, that shit cool. They can go to the store. Like, let's just take a drive around the city. You
You
know what
go
I
to
mean?
Target,
Talk.
they'll be happy with
Yeah,
that.
right. Had the music going. Exactly. All that, it doesn't take much. So sometimes I think we get in our own heads when it comes to things like that. And then we have to be able to, and that's not just with women, that's with anybody. Sometimes you gotta say no to that trip. Sometimes you gotta say no to that night out because you got other goals and other things that you're trying to accomplish. Even if it's not monetary, if I need to get, if I'm trying to work on my health, man, nah, I can't be out here drinking all night. I got something to do in the morning. I can't be out all night doing X, Y, and Z. Like, just goes back to that discipline we talk about that you have to have. And part of discipline is admitting, yo, it's a little fucked up right now. I'm gonna catch y'all in about a month or so. Ain't nothing wrong with taking care of business. Nobody should ever disrespect someone taking care of their business,
Facts.
right? And I think that's what it comes down to. I'm trying to think of something else you just said with the 50-50 thing. I don't. All right. I know I'm not the only one that feels like this. I would never ask a woman to go 50-50. I do think that's a little bit absurd. I think there's something about having a conversation about what we're going to do. Like, I got the
Mhm.
rent or mortgage, you got this. I think that's perfectly fine. I don't know if I
What
ever
if
say like every
what if she
bill
the
we get,
breadwinner?
we got to split it.
What if she the
What if
breadwinner?
she's the breadwinner? I still would have the same conversation. You might be doing a little bit more of the heavy lifting. Maybe I take the largest bill we have, and you take a few more of those smaller bills.
Okay, so what if she's the breadwinner and y'all have the conversation and she says, okay, I'm gonna take on the majority of the mortgage, and you like, no, we're not gonna split it down the middle. I'll pay more, you'll pay less, but then you'll pay all the rest of the bills too.
I'm
Like,
cool
is
with
that
that.
something you would be open
I'm
to?
cool with that.
Okay.
I'm cool with
You
that.
just
I'm
won't,
cool with.
you got it.
I want, and that might be an outdated gender role type of thing, but that's just who I am. It's just more of a pride thing. It's more so I just can't. I can't, and it doesn't have anything to do with your girl. It's anybody. All right, I'm at a point in life now. I would never, Spike. I can't even imagine what type of situation I would have to be in to ask my mom for money.
Mhm.
You get what I'm saying? Like, at this
Mhm.
age where I'm knocking on the
Mhm.
door at 40, I can't even imagine what kind of distress I'm in to where I'd have to call my mama for bread.
Right.
Like, there you gotta. It's just that mindset of, nah, man. I've been getting out and getting it since I was able to get out and get it. Since I was able to get outside, I've been able to take care of myself and handle my business. Like, that's never been an issue. So it's more of a, that's not how I am. That's not how I'm built. Like, I'm gonna go out here and make something shake, and I'm gonna get back on my feet. It's just that, like Mike said in the wire, man, that ain't me. That owing niggas for
Do
shit, that ain't
handouts.
me.
Yeah.
And it could be bad. It could be toxic because it's not necessarily owing anything. We all know, you and I both know, and I'm sure a lot of people listening, your mom would do anything for you.
Facts.
You go to jail, your mom putting up the house for bail. Like, you know
Facts.
what I mean? Your mom will do anything for you. Moms are usually the most selfless, loving people in your life. Unless you got
Facts.
Olivia Soprano or anything like that. But for the most part, your mom always gonna hold you down and look out. So it's not about they wouldn't do it. It's more so I would never ask my mom to put herself in
To
that
do it.
situation
Right.
because it's something I did. The same way I would never ask my girl unless we really going in, because relationships are different. That's a partnership. You know what I mean? That's really we have to be able to tell each other. And the older I get, the more you look at relationships differently and how you choose a partner. Like, you always think it's about the butterflies, lovey-dovey. Now, like, can I, ups and downs, when shit get hard, can we ride together? Like, are we friends first? All of that. That
Is that
matters.
somebody? Yeah, that's somebody that's going, like, even in a heated situation. Like, I still, like, I seen something dope. The other dude was talking about I don't know, I seen it somewhere. He was like, I love my girl, but I like you. I think he was talking like to the side chick or something. He was like, it'd be times that I hate my girl, but like I still love her. I just like you. Like, you're
Mhm.
convenient. You're this and you that. So he was just going over this whole thing about the difference between love and liking. That's probably one of the main things in a relationship. And it took a long time for me to understand. Like, you're not gonna like your girl all the time. Like, it's just not gonna happen. That's
It's not realistic.
an unrealistic bar to set. But I do have a question for you.
It's
With you saying that you being a
well,
traditional person. Go
real
ahead.
quick before you do that. Well, go ahead, ask your question, and I'll get back to my point.
Could you, being a traditional man, like let's say you find you a Jack Stewart,
Mm.
and she asks you, she like, you know what? What'll really help me out, and what'll you be like giving the most to this relationship is if you just be the stay-at-home dad.
Yep.
How you
Yep.
do it?
You know why? You know why? You know why?
Uh-huh.
Because even though she's a fictional character, I know that she means that. I know she wouldn't ask it wouldn't be a test
Yeah.
if she asked that. If she asked that, she really wants that and needs that.
Right.
And she's such a boss that whatever I can do to help you out, if you're the breadwinner and that's what you need me to do, sign me up. I got you.
Mm.
It might not be choice. I might hit her on some like, yo, I still got to do something. I can't
Yeah.
just, I'm not comfortable with this. But if that's what she needs in order to take care of the house and I lay down whatever I need in return from that, and when I say what I need, I'm not talking about allowance. I'll be damned if somebody try to give me an allowance. But I just mean in general, like, this is what I need from you. I think we can have that conversation. It can work. Because Jax is a boss. That's a whole different
Yeah.
thing. That's, that's not your, the
That ain't
average
Kayla
woman
Nicole.
who's working. Nah, that's a whole different level. And you read that personality. She seems like that's exactly the type of woman that I would say yes to.
You
Like,
best
there's
stay
not
home,
many,
damn.
but that a woman like Jax, oh
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely, I got you. Because you holding it down everywhere else ain't really about that. Now, how long would I last? I don't know. It might sound good until you actually get in the middle of it. Because now I'm thinking about season 1 Jax, and there's a lot
Slick
of you
mouth.
got me fucked up.
Yeah.
You got me fucked up right now.
Facts.
Like, I don't know who you think you're talking to, and that's
I don't
the
know.
issue when you get in them situations, because you ain't got no leg to stand on. Then
And that's
then
what
it's
I
like,
was
you
just
bum
about to
ass
say.
nigga. I'm the one taking care of you. This is my house. You ain't contributing nothing. All you done, like, and I'm like, oh man,
That's
here we
one
go.
of my biggest insecurities. Like that's one of my, like, for someone to be like, you're not contributing, and then to like pull the card. That's one thing I fear that. I could never be in that situation. It's like, well, I do this and I do that. Like, no, we're not doing that at all. But I feel like, and I don't know if it's because I grew up around a lot of women, or it's just, I wouldn't say that I was jaded, but I feel like that's inevitable, because when you get into a heated argument, which is bound to happen if you're in a relationship, I feel like that's the route. Like, women go that low. Like, they go that to, like, nigga, I do this, and this, and you like, damn, tell me how you really feel.
Right. And that's what it always. That's why that keeping. Speaking of Jack, speaking of that show, Reasonable Doubt, Black Therapist. Man, shout out to that Black Therapist. Man, shout out to that brother. I forget his name on
One
the
of the
show.
best characters, beast.
One of the best characters. But it sounds like y'all are keeping score. That's what I don't want in a relationship. I don't want that, Spike. I don't never want to be with someone where we are keeping score. It's got to be. I'm okay with having as many conversations that are needed, but once we close this chapter, that chapter's done. Because I'm not the type of nigga that's going to be like, I'm not going to forgive you for something or excuse certain behavior, and I tell you I'm good, and then a month later bring it back up. Right? I'm not going to be that type of person, and I need the same in return. Like, once we pass it, we pass it. Let's do the work of having the conversation and really getting on the same page. But once we pass that, we got to go. And Jax did a lot of that keeping score shit, and that's something I can't do. I'm not going to be able to do that. Are we in this or not? I'm not about to
That's
keep
one of
tabs every single time some shit happens.
That's one of my pet peeves, and that's with, in a relationship or even with homeboys, like people that you fuck with. Like, I can't stand when a motherfucker be like, "Oh, you remember I did this, that, and the third," when you didn't done shit for them that you never spoke on again. Because I didn't do it because, you know what I'm saying, I wanted to keep scoring. I did it because I fuck with you. And that's one of the things that's pressing my button right there. Like, a motherfucker calling back some shit they done for you, or you came through and they helped you, and they go, well, remember I did this, that, and the third. And that's one of the things for me. I'm like, nah, that's big red flag.
That's lame. The one thing I was going to circle back to, just to wrap up this portion of the conversation, please enjoy it, because this is very unlike Another Week in the Book. We won't have too many of these, but it is very interesting. And I'm almost hesitant to say this, but I know I'm not the only one who feels like this. I have no problem paying for stuff. You got to hit me with the pump fake at least once, though, right? Like, let's say all weekend. Let's say we hanging all weekend, right? You know what I mean? You go out of town to see someone, whatever the case is, or shorty come to your city, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, right? I don't have a problem if I'm inviting you to come see me. I'm expecting to make sure I take care of you. I'm the one that sent the invite. I'm gonna make sure you're good, right? However,
does that include room and board?
Yeah, Yeah, you stay with me, whatever the case is. If you're comfortable, if you want to get your own stuff, that's cool too. That's another big thing. I'll ask whatever you're comfortable with. You know,
Yeah.
some women rather I'll get my own stuff. I'll do this because they like us. They don't want anybody hanging anything over their head. You know,
Mm-hmm.
obviously, and that's a whole nother conversation. The whole flued out conversation and what you
Yeah.
expect. Like there's a whole that we've all seen the combo of well, shit. If a nigga fly you out, you should expect to sleep with him. And then there's the other side of it when it's like, well, why should I expect that when he invited me out? That's a whole
Yeah.
different conversation that I think a woman would need to be involved in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, there shouldn't be any surprises. But at the end of the day, I ain't saying you got to pay for everything. You ain't got to pay for nothing. You ain't got to pay for nothing. But at least hit me with the fake reach for the purse once. Right? It's something about somebody you don't know. And it's different if you know them. I think that I want to put that caveat in there. You getting to know somebody and you're courting, and I'm talking about breakfast, lunch, dinner, activities. I'm paying for everything. I'm not complaining. I'm not griping. But damn, on that second day, at least once during lunch or breakfast. Breakfast is usually the cheapest meal of the day.
Cheapest meal, yeah.
Hit me with the fake, oh, I got this, and I'm gonna hit you with nah. I appreciate you though. I got it. You know what I mean? But don't the whole time when you feel like
just stand back.
Just
just
step
back
when yeah, I don't know what it is. I know that
I've even been on with like
women would probably
they'll give
feel
the
a way
tip
about that.
Like you take care. I said I even been like you said, they'll try to show you don't let them pay for them, but well, I'll tip the waiter. I'll make sure they get a good.
I wouldn't ask her to tip, but if they offer to tip the waiter after that, but I don't know. I've been in a situation like that, and it was a turnoff. Not because I expected her to pay for anything, but just more, why are you expecting me to do everything?
Take care of you.
And that maybe that's a messed up mentality as is. But like I said, I think it goes to the fact that I didn't know her. We didn't have a relationship like that, to where it kind of felt like we were locked in. It'd be like, no problem, I got you. It's whatever. But it just felt a little weird. I don't know. That's a whole nother conversation for another day too. But Spike Lee,
I was gonna say something there, but it would have got me canceled. But
yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. Let's get off the exit right now.
I
still traffic. There's traffic ahead, Spike. There's traffic ahead. It's time to get off the exit, man. It's time to detour. I see it coming. I see it coming. There's plenty of times I had to get off that exit ramp, man. And like, you know what? We gonna park this right here. Plenty of times, man. Because I know exactly what you're thinking.
Yeah, we could just limit that to one transaction. It'll be a lot better. It'll work out a lot better for both of us, probably.
Hey, listen, I'm 100% with that. I'm 100% with that. We could. Hey, if that's what we're doing. Hey, if that's what we're doing, shorty, let's go ahead. Let's talk numbers right now. What we talking?
We ain't even got to do all of this. Yeah,
man.
You might make more.
Oh
man,
let's
that's
make
funny.
This transaction. Hey, you a silly nigga.
Facts. That's facts, man.
Spike Lee, you hit me up and sent me an article today. It said you wanted to talk about it. President Barack Obama, obviously, as we know, the election is less than 30 days away. The registration of the deadline of registration
closed.
The deadline for registration to vote has closed. So hopefully you're already registered. But now we're in the thick of it, waiting on that October surprise. It might be that book that somebody just dropped, talking about all the stuff with Trump. But either way, Obama's on the campaign trail. President Obama is on the campaign trail, and for Kamala Harris. And it sounded like there was a little bit of a chastising to black men. If you want to lay this out a little bit further.
Yeah, so essentially what Barack was saying, and he's received criticism for it, he's received praise for it. It's the time of the year that we in. Everybody divisive and on one side or the other versus taking nuance out of the conversation. But the criticism that he was receiving is he came off as scolding to black men and saying that we needed to get out and vote, and saying that we were the ones that were going to drive this election and we couldn't be the ones sitting at home. But it wasn't in a come on, let's do this motivational thing. It was a more like, you niggas bet not. And the conversation has been, one, it's out of context because the Democrats' second largest voting bloc I read is black men. So like that those are the people to go out and vote for him. And two, it's this thing where like black men will look at it like, who are you to tell me this? Like that cachet that Obama built up for a lot of us has ran out. For a lot of us, it's still there. It's a lot of people that love Barack Obama. I don't dislike him or anything like that, but I don't feel strongly about him as some other people do. But it came off as not being able to read the room and the tone that he gave those instructions as. It's like, nigga, you better listen to me versus I'm telling you what's best for you.
You know
So
the
that was a
first
conversation. Go ahead.
you know the first thing I thought of, right?
What's that?
The Bill Cosby comments.
Pull your pants up.
Pull your pants up, all this and that. Stop doing this. It's the idea that instead of having a conversation, you're telling me what to do. And I don't care who you are, who the fuck you talking to. You know what I mean? And that's the thing that's interesting. I'm not saying I feel that way about President Obama's remarks, but I did find it very interesting. It might be the first time that I've realized, like, oh, you ain't got the juice like that no more. And what I mean by that is there was a point in time where he could say something like that, and he was kind of like the OG, and you kind of fall in line. Everybody should have an OG that can pull you back in and say, hey, man, you're going too far. Maybe nobody else in your crew can, but the older person, the one, hey, man, tone it down, chill out. And you're like, all right, man, I got you. You're right. I'm going a little too far. That's who he was for a lot of people for a long time. And I don't know if I ever even pictured the day where he lost that touch. And I quickly realized from the backlash that he's getting off this comment, like, oh, either you've been going too long, doing your production company stuff, you kind of out of politics. You're really just a heavy hitter. You a designated or a higher hit where you can come in, you got the popularity, you can sway people to vote for this way, and then you can bounce. Obviously, he went to the DNC. Him and First Lady Michelle Obama ripped it, killed the DNC, the speeches, and the whole nine. But it's something about being active, right? Being active and being around. Like, who are you to just come in, pop in, sell me this, and then just bounce again? Like, you don't even know what's going on, bro. Like the article you sent me, man, 60% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. Like, y'all talking about how good life is because y'all signing book deals and all these networks deals, bro. We fucked up out here. So how dare you come and say or tell me what I need to do or blame me for certain things when I have every single right to vote with however my heart, conscience, and beliefs
what's best for me.
Decide what's best for me. And I think it could, and it's so the episode we just recorded for Good Earners, we both, as well as Mo, had an issue. The show went out of their way to paint black people hip hop in a certain way. Right? It's one thing if you do things naturally, but now you're going out of your way to paint this picture. Right. And it kind of is like you're pandering. And even his language, like, y'all know some of these brothers. Like
that
all
was
that
crazy.
stuff.
Like even how he started it. That was crazy.
That's what I'm saying. It's kind of like, and you know what? Maybe you're right. Yes, we do know. But also, you're not going to reach them or you're not going to connect with them by speaking to them like this. Right, yeah.
Maybe and who you talking to, like you said. You don't even talk like this, my nigga. Who are you talking to? Why you try? I hate when people do that. When you try to dumb it down because you think I can relate to a dumbed down version. Like, y'all know these brothers. Like, what? That don't even sound right coming from you. But
Yeah, it doesn't. Like, no, you're good. That's what. And I'm glad you said that because that's my point. It doesn't sound. It sounds like you're. And I'm okay. Tailor your message to your audience, but not in that sense. Not when you criticize them. Talk how you talk, because now I'm gonna be doubly offended. Because you coming in trying to wrap your arm around me like we cool and we come from the same place. But at the same time, you're using this kind of language, and I know why you're doing it. Because you're not talking to other groups saying, y'all know these brothers. Like, because you're talking about black men, you're using that. And you're using a familiar language and dialect, but you're talking to us unfamiliar. When really, if you really wanted to help, you put your arm around us, like you said, and say, hey, listen, I understand. I get it. I understand these might be these. My bad, y'all. Mic went out. But we really have to look at things differently and think about what the root of this is and how we can get better with it. More so solution building versus actually saying, hey, I want to do this, or you guys need to do this at this time. Like, that's not cool. I'm not with that. All right, we got back on the right. But yeah, and just for a little bit more context, the whole point he was making was that there's sexism in the black community, specifically amongst black men who are elected to vote for Kamala Harris, who was a black woman. He's saying that most of the issue and the number of black men that you see going to the Republican side, going, blacks for Trump, blacks for MAGA, all of them, they're saying he's pretty much saying they're diverting because of the sexism. And I
Do
think
you
that's
believe that?
no,
Yeah,
I don't
okay.
think that. No, listen, like anything else in the world, there's some truth to it, right? Definitely some truth to it. I don't want to shoot it down like it's not true. However, if you're going to say that, I need some evidence and some research and some numbers to support what you're saying, because it sounds like
Yeah.
an opinion. And one of my biggest pet peeves: don't present your opinion like it's truth. Don't present
Yeah.
your opinion like it's a fact, right? What you really should be doing, I just mentioned 60% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. Get to the grassroots. And like I said, you might be disconnected. You've been gone too long. Really get out here and talk to people and see why they're converting, what's going on, right? I guarantee you'll get some solid answers. People will tell you exactly why they're leaving, the Democratic Party, exactly why they're lining up with Trump. And it's been going for quite some time as far as them more and more black men supporting Trump. It's going to be.
Yes, it has.
Yeah, go ahead.
But it ain't my opinion. It's not a sexist thing though. The black men, the people that you see supporting Trump are supporting him. To some black men, not all, but to some, he's more appealing than Kamala is.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's just more appealing to them, to what their interests are, and they would rather do that than that first time that Barack came around. It's like, okay, I'm voting for the black dude regardless. One of the things about this, Rich, that stood out the most, and you said it, and it was like a sore thumb sticking out. Like, one of the most captivating things about Barack when he was running is he seemed like tapped in. He seemed in tune and touch, even though it was a
He
lack
doing
of
the
a
brush
black
off his
father.
shoulder. Yeah.
Yeah, even though there was a lack of, I've always said this, and some people look at me crazy. Some people say, "Oh, really? That makes a good point." Some people think it don't matter, but I read that book, the Diary of My Father, some shit like that. Whatever the book was that he wrote, one of those books, and I didn't realize he never really had like we talked about this earlier in the broadcast and bring it full circle, like that black experience. Like his
Mm-hmm.
mom was white, his grandparents raised him, his dad was African. I'm not saying that to take anything away from him. He's still an incredible person. Shout out to him for being a black president. But things like that stick their head out in situations like this is because you still really don't have that black man experience that a lot of us had. Like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you grew up as a black man in America, but still not being in those surroundings that a lot of us black men have been in. It's now rearing its head to where you seem a little less connected than you've ever seemed. One, because you've been out of the public eye for so long. Two, a little bit of the luster has worn off. The incredible speeches and things of that nature. That's good for politics. And I've always said this, and I said this when he was in office, and people looked at me crazy and thought I was criticizing him, but it was just an observation. I was just stating an observation. And I said, we will know if Barack is really like this ride or die for black people person, if when he's out of office, he is committed to, because he said he couldn't do it when he was in office. He said famously, I'm not black America's president, I'm all America's president.
Mm-hmm.
So my mind went to, I always wondered, okay, once he's done with these 8 years, is he going to do stuff like to benefit black people? Like, is he going to be out in front? I wouldn't say on no Martin Luther King type shit, but still like contributing to the community, contributing to like, I was the first black president. I'm out here in front. I'm having these conversations. I'm doing these things. And to be frank, he hasn't. So now I think that's why people, especially black men, are looking at him like, okay, you were a politician, you fooled us. You made us think that it was about this black thing, and we all got out and voted for you and voted for change and did this stuff. But once that was over, and once you did your run, you kind of faded into the spotlight. You faded into the backlight, and now you doing the speeches and you getting the bag for podcasts or books or whatever it may be. But you're not standing out in front and addressing black issues as they need to be addressed. And what other voice would be as powerful as yours as to address black issues? And now when you are addressing them and you do call yourself speaking to black people, it's in a chastising way.
Yeah.
So I think that's turning a lot of people off. A lot of people looking at it like, nah, bro, like it don't, no, it don't work.
So let me ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
One, are we asking, should we be asking that of him or expecting that of him? And two, is it okay if he just answers the call? And what I mean by that is maybe he's not at the forefront, maybe he's not leading the charge, maybe he's not being as vocal as needed. But hey, if we call you and we need you to show up for this, you're going to pull up. Is that enough?
No, I don't think so. I think his voice is too powerful. His voice is too powerful in the sense of you see what's going on just like I do. Like if you're Barack, like if you're able to make these comments about black men not voting, and you know these brothers, if you can say that, then you also see the things that are plaguing our community as well. And you could be a much more frequent and powerful voice to get some of those things changed, because you do still hold the political cachet in Washington. So if they hear you out here saying some of these things, you ain't worried about running for nothing. You ain't worried about being the president again. So you ain't got to bite your lip. Excuse me. You ain't got to bite your tongue about nothing. You can be as frank as you need to be about issues concerning your people, but he never is. And I think some people are starting to look at that now and be like, okay, like you was a really good one, but you was just a politician.
But that's the thing, though. I don't know if he ever presented himself that way. So are we putting too much on him to be that person? Are we wanting him to be something that he's really not just because of who he is?
That's a good question. That's the question. And you're right.
And that's why
I think that's the expectation.
Now.
That's the expectation of us. Like, as black people, we always, who's the leader in the black community? And people always saying things like this. And he just seemed like the perfect person to be it. You're right. I don't think he ever asked to be it. I think he pretended to want to be it to get the votes when he was running, but he never really asked for it. He never was a Jesse Jackson or Al Sharpton or Martin Luther King or Malcolm X. Like, people, you see that everybody got that painting of that fan that they've seen with Malcolm, like all them and Barack on there. Barack didn't sign up for that. You're right. You're absolutely right. But he did win a campaign or two campaigns based off of it. But that's just politics.
So that's the thing. He might argue that he won a campaign based off everyone. Yes, the black community helped, but it wasn't just them. And here's the thing. All right, you don't want to be that. That's cool. It's cool. All right, we get it. You out of the office. You making movies and documentaries now and buying houses on Martha's Vineyard. I get it. That's perfectly fine. However, you can't speak on stuff like this. And if you
just leave us alone,
it can't be in this manner.
Yeah, just leave us alone.
It's got to be one way. It's got to be one way. And this is interesting because I recently had this thought. Spike and myself, we're big Jay-Z fans, right? So there's a Jay-Z lyric on the he did that Hot 97 freestyle. The everybody look at you strange, say you change, like you worked that hard to stay the same, right? And I think about Jay-Z's life and career, right? Who is now Jay-Z is now what he is. He'll be 55 in December, right? 55. And every time you turn on the internet, that sounds like an old nigga. Turn on the internet. Every time you get on the internet, you see somebody blaming Jay-Z for something, waiting for his downfall, all types of stuff. And he said it in a New York Times article, maybe in 2017 or so. Like, I know it's not me. It's the position I hold, right? It's the position I hold. Whoever sits in this chair, they're going to get that same criticism. It just happens to be me. So I think that's how he deflects a lot of it. But I also was thinking about more and more, there are a lot of things that Jay does that I can't agree with. I'm like, damn, man, like, because that's my dog. I'm gonna defend him, but also it's like,
What's an
damn, man,
example?
I wasn't a big fan of the NFL move. I feel
That's the
like,
first one usually people go
but
to.
so it's because it's all right. So it's mutually beneficial. It's a good look. It's a great business move. However, with what was going on at the time with Colin Kaepernick, it's much of a stronger to almost to your point you said about Obama. It's much stronger if you side with him, saying, you know what, y'all offering me this. Either I got to get him back in the league, do whatever before I can do that because I don't want to step somebody as powerful as Jay-Z. I don't want to step on his movement. And what he did was once he said it's cool to watch football again, I'm not saying people stop watching football anyway, but once he said we're past kneeling, everybody was all right, cool, we back at it.
Mm-hmm.
And they get back on their shit. And I get that. That's cool. That's business. What I ended up thinking about recently, maybe a couple weeks ago, was we have to allow people the room to grow. And we have to accept that people aren't who they were when we met them. And I had a real aha moment when I said, yeah, Jay-Z is our favorite rapper. You know, he the GOAT. He the person that does, you know, he pays for people's bails at Ferguson. He helps out people, so many people without saying anything. Celebrities, people, so many stories about, man, Jay-Z did this for me, Beyonce did this for me. They would never say anything. They never want any kind of recognition. But trust me, they do so much behind the scenes. And that's cool. But I also had to look at it like, yo, he's past it. He's also a billionaire. And I have to expect billionaires to do billionaire shit. That's a billionaire thing to do.
It's a different type of thought process.
So maybe part of it is I need to change my perspective on who this man is. I'm still thinking about 98 Jay-Z.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking about him boycotting the Grammys and shit like that.
Yeah.
All that. And he's not that anymore. And as a community, are we too quick to call people sellouts or say they change when that's what they're supposed to do? I'm in a whole different sphere of light. Like if I live the same type of life Jay lived, maybe I'll be different too. Fuck, I'm gonna be around here doing all this for. Like, yeah, you should be in a sense. Yeah. But we always want to have it both ways. And that's a tough thing. And yes, I think everybody as a whole, man, I think black people owe black people. That's just who I am. That's just I'm always gonna think that way. Black people owe black people. I don't care how high you are on the ladder. Like you always gonna be able to reach across, reach down, reach up, whatever it is to help somebody else along. But I also can't be mad that you wear other hats than black. Right?
That's fair.
I can't be mad at that. And I have to realize that. I might not agree with it. I might not like it, but I can at least respect it as long as you don't present yourself as I'm down for y'all, I'm here for the people. And then when it's time to show up, you ain't there. Right? And it kind of goes back, and we tie it back into this whole politics in general. I'm okay with you thinking what you want to think and believing what you want to do and vote for who you want to vote. I ain't gotta know. You could tell me that you voting for somebody that I disagree with, and you know, I might look at you like, damn, for real, I would have never expected that. I don't know if that is the automatic grounds for a cutoff. Maybe disappointment, maybe some conversations. But would you feel disappointed? And maybe our personalities aren't the right people to ask this question to, because I don't think we would feel invested enough to even give too much of a fuck. Like, yes, I think that one person could be more harmful, or one person. All right, no, let me say this a different way. One person is much more difficult to understand why someone will vote for. But does that mean that I've got to say, oh, if you vote for them, I'm cutting you off?
No.
You know what I mean? Or somebody saying, hey, I'm sitting this one out. I ain't voting at all. And there's people like, what? You ain't voting? You know how many black people lost their lives for? Like, you know what I mean? I ain't gonna get into that whole spiel. All right, you ain't voting then. All right, man. I might be able to tell you, all right, here's why I think you should.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm always big on, I'm not trying to convince someone, I'm not trying to change your mind. Like, if that's how you feel, that's how you feel. And it just is what it is. Maybe I look at things from a different light. You got the right to do that. You got the right to do it. Maybe I need to take inventory and realize, oh, maybe our relationship is different. Maybe you're a different person who I thought you were. If this is where your views line up, then maybe we're different. And I never noticed it. Or you could just be the same. It's just that one time, this is the one thing we disagree on. And I think that's okay. I said earlier, there's going to be a phrase that comes back, safe spaces, right? I saw something on the internet that I thought was very fascinating. In order to have safe spaces, we need to be safe people.
Mm.
You know what I mean? You can't always be quick to put belt to ass because somebody disagrees with you or somebody does something that's not black, quote unquote. And I'm talking about in a real way. I'm not. There's certain things that you're gonna get your ass kicked for. You don't know how to play spades, bruh. You're gonna get your ass kicked, man. Ain't
Yeah,
no safe
as you
spaces for
should.
that. It's funny
Yeah,
because I
as you
saw
should.
somebody. I don't know if you saw this. Somebody made a safe space for learning how to play spades, and I thought it was a brilliant idea. For the
Yeah.
people that don't know how to play spades, it's a safe space for them, but that's not life or death. That's not real. That doesn't have any
Right,
real
right.
influence on your day to day. So that I'm not talking about that type of stuff. I'm talking
But
about
that's
the
a good
real
example.
deal. I'm talking about the real deal black things where if somebody says, for example, they voting for Trump, the first question should be why versus being on their ass about it. Because you said this is a safe place. I brought my full self and my honesty here. Now y'all on my ass. I'm never gonna say anything like that again. And I'm gonna be shunned. I'm not fucking with y'all. Like we turn so many people away that shit, I feel more comfortable over on this side. I feel more comfortable with the MAGA people, which is it's crazy to me. It doesn't make sense to me, but obviously it makes sense to them. And I'm always curious as to why. I have more of an inquisitive mind versus like, oh, you tripping, you bugging. Nah, you think what you think. Like that's I wouldn't be mad at somebody for saying I like red over blue.
Yeah, because for me, the decision isn't as interesting as the roadmap to get there. Like that's always the fascinating thing to me. So, like what you said is like you can tell me I'm voting for Trump, and I ain't automatically gonna shun you or nothing like that. But I do want to know how you got there.
I'm curious.
How'd you get there? And a
Mhm.
motherfucker be like, "Well, I'm a business owner, and it makes more sense for me from a tax standpoint, and this, that, and I hate what he says." If you explaining it to me, I'm like, "Oh, okay, I understand. I may not agree with you, but I understand what you're saying."
Yeah.
Versus, "Oh, you're stupid. I don't see why you would vote Republican. Like niggas should never like." Come on, bro. Like that's
I would literally tell someone if they told me that they rich, all that type of stuff, and it has everything to do with that, I'm like, all right, I understand that. My comeback to them would be, you know what, me personally, and this is just a me thing. I'm always gonna vote black before I vote anything else. And what I mean by that is whatever is in the best interest of black people or poor people or middle class or whatever's in the best interest of them, that's where I'm usually gonna side with. Like my morals can't slide for a lot of the things and a lot of the slick talk that's been said. But I also can respect that there's a lot of people on the other side that feel that same way about Kamala and some of the things that she's done in California with the prison system and everything else, or allegedly, because there's a lot of misinformation that's out there about her, and a lot of like people run with lies. But either way, they might feel that way, and that's how they feel. That's how they feel. So the same way I'm voting black, if somebody nigga, I also don't got $1 billion in the bank. I ain't got $1 billion in net worth. So nigga, like what you can't trust me. Once you get to this level, you're gonna vote this way too, because he's trying to keep my
right.
money in my pocket. I'm always gonna vote for the little man. And that's just who I am. But if that's what you want to vote for, that's cool. Like I get it. If I was black and rich, well, I am black, but if I'm rich on top of that, I'm still gonna vote the way I vote. Like at some point, I gotta put some of my personal interests and personal benefits have to take a back seat to the greater good. Because I know way more people who ain't got it than I do who do. Than who do, excuse me. You know what I mean? And that's the people I'm looking for, and that's the people I'm actually like interested in making sure that they're good. But even larger than that, vote local, man. The local elections are
Yeah,
really
that's the
where you're
biggest
gonna see the
thing.
change at, man. This is all
Yeah, that's
just
the
a
biggest
big
thing.
parade. And here's another thing that you and I share in common, Spike. We both have the mentality of it matters, but it don't matter. We're gonna have to live here and figure this shit out anyway.
Facts.
So regardless of who I vote for, whether they win or lose, we got to figure out this life shit and
Still
shit
got to
keep
deal
going
with it.
anyway. Yeah,
Yep, still got to deal
I'll
with it. You
never
still got
forget
to
the
get up
feeling.
and do your everyday.
I'll never forget waking up in 2016 and looking at my phone like, what the fuck?
I thought it was fake. I ain't gonna lie, I never forget out the girl I was dating at the time. She was like, "You said he wasn't gonna win." I was like, "This can't be real.
Yeah.
This is not. They gonna call it back." That's what I remember telling her that confidently too. Like, nah, this not
Mm-hmm.
something. They gonna change something. It's not gonna. Shit, that shit
But
stuck.
once you find out it's real, then it's like, all right, now what?
Yeah, right. No, what?
We got to
Now
figure
you
it
gotta
out.
keep on doing what you do.
Yeah, it's a very interesting conversation to have, man. It's a lot of moving pieces that go into it. Um,
One thing I will say
and
about the Barack thing.
yeah.
I bet I
No, go ahead.
do. You think we get like that as older black men too? Is the bail that I would shoot him though? Like you get in this bag where you feel like you have to be chastising because you're looking at a generation of people that are so, as you see yourself getting older, and this is something that we could relate to just as men. You see yourself getting older and you're looking online or you're outside and you see the younger generation, how they may be carrying themselves, how it's so much different from, how you grew up. And you feel like you move past the point of asking questions and more towards, we've talked about this about this on Another Week in the Books a lot in the first chapter. Older black men, they move towards this place of feeling like I have to chastise you in order for me to think that you're listening to me. I think that's a really bad habit that we have in our community. Like as older black men, we start to, I've always told that story about like some of my, Dro's dad. Like he
Mm-hmm.
used to carry himself like, you little niggas should be listening to me just because I'm older than you. And I see how y'all are bullshitting out here running around outside. Versus taking the approach of asking questions to figure or find out. Like, why are you moving like this? We have this thing that we do as older black, this arrogance, I'll say. This arrogance of, I know why you moving like this. And that's essentially
Mm-hmm.
what Barack sit up there and did. Like, I know why you niggas is doing this. Like this is sexism. Like I know what it is. Like versus getting that information from us. And I think that's one of the biggest divides from older to young, like between the generations of black men. It's like there's not enough, there's not enough fact finding. Like you're not asking enough, we're not
You're
asking
not
each
asking the right
other enough
questions.
questions. Yeah, we're not asking the right questions, enough questions, or questions at all. And I
Yeah.
think that's what happened right here with Brian. Like you come off as like the older guys that I remember trying to tell me that I was doing wrong when I was outside. And I found
Mm-hmm.
myself as being an older guy now, like looking at stuff and being like, these little niggas, man, and just being in that bag, but not really even truly understanding. Like we talked about it with I don't know where I was at. It may have been me and I don't know if it was me and you talked about it, but we talked about it with like it's a dead end. So the sagging, like sagging pants nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
I'm of that age now where I look at it and like roll my eye, like, man, nigga, pull your pants up. But I remember when that was me.
Mm-hmm.
But we did it in a different way. Like our shirts would be big and they would be covering. You could tell our pants were sagging because it's just where they were hanging. Now the
Yeah.
little niggas do it and like they got the Ithaca draw, like their shirt stop at the waistband and the pants stop at the thigh. And you like, God
Mm-hmm.
damn, bro, like pull your pants. I don't want to see that. And I
Mm-hmm.
remember hearing that specifically and how it made me feel when I was younger. But now I'm in that position to say the same thing. So there's this disconnect. And somebody told me that the reason the young niggas do that now is they trying to show off the designer drawers that they got on. Like they're trying to show
See,
off
what the
like the
fuck is
polo
going on?
drawers or the Ithaca drawers or the Versace drawers. I'm like, okay. So that it's a fashion statement now. It was a fashion statement when we did it, but it was just I don't want no tight ass clothes on. So it's we all do it. So I'm shooting
Mm-hmm.
Barack Bell on that. That's something that we could all work on collectively as black men from young to old, just being more open, asking more questions to each other. Like we are famous phrase from Another Week in the Books, ask another question versus the judgment and the chastising.
That's
Do the
very well
sagging
said.
irritate you like that?
Yeah,
Have you
absolutely.
got
I'm.
to that
I'm.
point? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of young nigga shit irritates me, but I try to give them grace. Like I'm never gonna. I'm never gonna be the person rolling down the window. Hey, pull your
No,
pants.
I ain't
Like I'm
doing that.
not.
Yeah,
I'm
I
never
ain't
gonna
doing
be that person. Um, I think that you have to experience life for yourself and you figure it out. Um, what irritates me more than little niggas doing it is grown niggas doing it because they're the people that should know better. Like you know what I mean?
that.
That's what boils my blood. Um, and I also think they dangerous, man. If you still doing this shit, like you dangerous. I don't even want to be around you because you really don't care about much. But that's just my opinion. You know, there might be a different reason, but not everybody's meant to mesh and blend like that. I think that you said that very well as far as it's misplaced love, right? It's misplaced love. It's and I want to make sure I'm clear. If nothing else, I want to be clear about this. What Barack is saying is not wrong. Sexism is an issue, especially amongst black men. That's just something we can't run from. However, to assume that that's the reason why something is happening without sitting down to ask the proper questions, all right, even if somebody, because nobody's really ever going to come out. If Barack Obama sat down with a group of 10 black men and asked them, why are you voting for Trump? Nobody's
No,
going to say because we sexist and we hate black women. Nobody's going to say
not
that.
one would say because we don't like black women.
However, their answers will tell you without telling you.
Yep.
You can get that information. If they start saying certain things, you're like, oh, okay, I know what that's really about.
I know what it is.
Yep, exactly. So you can still figure out that information because nobody's going to come out and say that because they don't want it to look a certain way, but it's still there. It's prevalent. And you have to be able to let people or have people look at things from a different perspective. All right. I think it's okay to tell people, hey, I think you're wrong on that.
Mm-hmm.
I think, emphasis on I think you're wrong on that. Obviously, you believe what you believe, but I think you're wrong, and here's why. And have a conversation and go back and forth. We're taking emotions out of it. I talked about it before. Great scene on Trigger Warning with Killer Mike on Netflix. There was a moment when I forget exactly what they were doing, and Killer Mike told this dude something, and dude was going off on him. And Killer Mike just calmly raised his hand, like, "Hey man, like it's just my opinion. It's just my opinion, bro. I don't even know why you're that mad. We can have a conversation. Just because I disagree with something or I pointed something out doesn't mean you have to go off the deep end. Like, tell me why you think I'm wrong." And I think we lack in having conversations like that. It's almost like this pressure of feeling combative, and it's too much. Like, bro, it don't got to be combative. It's just a disagreement. Like, it ain't got to be I take my ball and go home just because we disagree on some shit.
Yeah,
let's talk it out. If it's that deep, let's talk
like
it out and then call it a day.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So that's very interesting, man. It's a very interesting conversation. There's many layers to it. And I do feel like, and I said this about the Being Happy episode, I would love to have a follow-up, maybe with a black woman or black women about that statement. Because like I said, I think we all know it's true. But what harm that might do in the long run, or maybe black women are feeling in the same way we're saying. We're not feeling seen, we're not feeling heard because of these misconceptions about us.
That's fair.
But at the end of the day, man, politics is politics, man, and it's all a circus and it's all a shit show. The older I get, the more I realize that I'm not saying it's not important. I do think everybody should vote, but I'm not the one that's about to be on your ass. I don't know if that makes me good, bad, and different. I know I'm gonna vote. I'm gonna do my part. But I was telling someone this is the first time probably in my life since I've been old enough to vote where, nigga, if my gas ran out on the way to the booth, I ain't gonna trip. like, I ain't really tripping. You know what I mean?
Let me ask you something based on that, then we can wrap it up and get out of here. Did you see the plan that Kamala put out for black men?
I saw that it was released. I saw the photo ops. I did not read it. So I did not read it. Maybe I'll read that for homework, and then we talk about it at the top of next week's episode. Because I am curious to know what it is. The thing that my issue, just real quick before we wrap up, my issue with plans like that is I feel like a lot of them are always just for the sake of getting these votes. Like a lot of people roll out these plans that are never approved and then nothing happens. And it's just, that's how it works. It takes, if you follow politics, you usually need that second term before you can actually start doing the things that you said you were going to do. Right? It's rarely they always have that first 100 days, just trying to keep a log of what you're going to do in your first 100 days in office. But a lot of the things that go into that, you can't even get into it until your second term. So it takes time, it takes patience. Politics is a long game. And once you realize that I'm sure everybody, if you haven't, go watch House of Cards. Once you realize that the president don't run the country, Congress don't run the country, it's really these donors, these bigwigs, these people behind the scenes that you'll never know or never hear from. They're the ones actually calling the shots. There's an episode of Succession where they went to this retreat to pick the next candidate for the party. Like, that's how it's really done. Like, the power makers, the movers and shakers, we're the ones making these calls. It ain't the general public. Yeah, we have our vote and stuff like that, but it's a lot deeper than that. Maybe I'm just at that point in my life where I believe everything is a conspiracy. But, go out and do what you need to do. Do what's best for you, but make sure you do it well advised. And, you should never be in a position where somebody asks you a question and you don't know the answer to it. If you're feeling strongly about something and you want to vote for someone, that's cool. But if I ask you why and you don't know, then that's an issue. That's an issue for me.
Agreed. Very well said, my brother.
So yeah, I would love to. Politics is not my bag that I normally talk about. Sometimes I don't feel qualified, but I think that is a good conversation to have. Hopefully, everybody gets something out of that. And this is one in particular. I know we say it all the time. I would love, absolutely love to get feedback, DMs, comments, emails about this conversation, what y'all think. Because I like to look at things from a black and white perspective versus that gray area. And I love to see how other people think. I know the importance of what it means and the harm that it will be to vote for Donald Trump. But I also understand that there are people, whether I believe it or not, there are people out there that feel there's going to be harm if Kamala's in office. You know what I mean? And that's something that I want to understand why you feel that way. You know what I mean? So I think it's okay to have these questions and not just to write things off, to your point, Spike, not just to write it off. The black person that says they vote for Trump, don't write it off as a sexist, right? Dig a little deeper and kind of find out why. And maybe you get to the root of something and maybe you can change their perspective on how they look at things, or maybe there's something they never took into account. But that's a long conversation. That's a long way. We got to get better as a people. And when I say us, I don't mean black people. I mean just society as a whole. We're just not built that way. It's very, I'm on this side, you on this side. Like, I like vanilla ice cream, you like chocolate ice cream. Now we got a beef. Like, bro, it ain't got to be all that.
It ain't that deep. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It's become a lot more divisive with social media.
Yeah, that's a great point. Social media really, man, one of the best gifts and curses.
I'm on this side, you on this side. Yeah, like a lot more divisive. There used to be a lot more conversations.
Absolutely.
But another week in the books is bringing conversations back, man. So shout out to you, shout out to me, shout out to Mo for that first book, man. We appreciate the way that we're able to start conversations, invoke thought, and just have people listen and share feedback, as we hope you do with this episode, and even just take stuff away. Like, this started out again as a podcast to essentially just get to know each other, but it turned into something that was a lot more for the people, and it's evolved into what we have now. And I just want to say I appreciate it, Rich.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you, and I'm proud to be a part of this. And I say proud intentionally. That's, I mean, I don't know if I've ever described anything else I do as proud to do it, but I think this is important. And I'm looking forward to the feedback. I'm looking forward to, because I've always shied away from conversations like this. You know, a lot of the podcasts I'm a part of are all based off film, television, where I can use my own experience. I can use the experiences in the show and kind of relate them to real life versus sitting here and really trying to figure some real life shit out in real time. And I always try to be careful, because whenever somebody has a platform, I take that very seriously in what content you're putting out there, and you need to be responsible with it. I never wanted to be someone who just grabbed the microphone and started talking. It's something as serious as this and elections. I want to make sure that it's very clear and understood what we're talking about in the grand scheme of things. So hopefully that resonates when people listen to it. And if not, we'd love to hear from you. I love to know, anytime that I get on this microphone and I misspeak or misstep, I want to have a community, bookworms and beyond that say, hey, you know what? I understood what you was trying to say, but it came off this way. It didn't come off the right. It didn't land right. And I can learn from that, and I can be better from that. You got to be able to like take that criticism in order to grow. And you know, not saying anything like that happened, but I'm just saying I love to hear feedback from people on what you think about this episode in particular, because it's not just your common stuff. This is a big thing that we're going through in real time as adults, as taxpayers, as the whole nine. That's really going to have some impact on us one way or another. So I'm sure Spike shares that sentiment. We'd love to hear from y'all about that.
Same here. Yep. AWITB 2022 at Gmail, Instagram, Another Week in the Books, and individual socials is real. K_K_Rich513, and I am Spike.
You love putting that underscore on me, bro. It's K_Rich513. It's K_Rich513.
I think I'm so used to saying Animal Browns that he got the underscore in front of his.
Yeah, it's all good. You know what I mean? It's all good, man. I always put the handles in the episode description so you can follow us there. Chapter 8 next week. The good brother Mo, much anticipated return.
Yep. So if y'all have questions for his return, AWITB 2022 and IG.
Yes. Absolutely. Can't wait for that. Until then, we appreciate y'all bookworms, man. Y'all make this thing go. We will see y'all next week for a new chapter. We appreciate y'all patience. We appreciate you sitting here and growing this second book with us. And until then, we're going to holler. Peace.
Peace.